Hello and welcome to Absolutely Not. My name is Kay Stroh. My pronouns are they, she, he, and you can find out more about me at my website, www.kaystroh.com. Real quick, if you appreciate the work that I do here or elsewhere, please visit the Support the Mission page of my website. There are several options to choose from, so please choose one. The keywords for this episode are intergenerational trauma, stereotyping, and resistance. I encourage y'all to look up the definitions of these words. And if you need help comparing them to the definitions that you carry with you on a daily basis, please let me know. This episode is sponsored by Headspace. Headspace has one mission: to improve the health and happiness of the world through meditation, sleep, stress, and mindfulness. Find out more about Headspace at the link in the show notes. Today's episode is titled Being Assertive, Honest, and Transparent. Okay. And I'm excited to talk about it with our amazing special guest, Gregory O'Brian Coates, he, him. He is a behavior specialist that services children and adolescents who suffer with OCD and anxiety. He is also a certified life coach and a certified mental health coach with his own coaching business. He is Jamaican American. Gregory, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Kay, for having me.
I'm really excited. I remember the first time we chatted together, I talked about how the word assertiveness rubbed me the wrong way, and it did nothing to me. You just said the word and it rubbed me the wrong way. Have you seen a lot of people have that same reaction to the word?
No, I'm curious to why it rubbed you the wrong way. Oh, I'm very curious about that.
I think I shared with you it was because a lot of the times when people use that word to describe me, they're often adding negative connotation to the word. They're never being like, oh, I really like that assertiveness in you. It's always like, could you stop being so assertive? Have you ever seen that play out?
No, that's so weird because I don't think I've ever looked at assertiveness as something that's like negative or had like a negative connotation to it. But now that you mentioned it, I'm like, okay, now it kind of makes a lot of sense. And that's funny because I teach assertiveness to my kids. And we talk about the difference between being passive aggressive, and then of course aggressive, which is the route we don't want to take. But with kids are going to be kids. So, you really got to keep teaching them so that they're able to retain all that information about being assertive. And I think assertiveness is a great thing. You don't want to have your boundaries tested time and time after time again, and them taking advantage of your kindness and taking advantage of you and thinking that's like a weakness of yours. So I feel like assertiveness, you're like asserting your boundaries, you're being very direct, very clear about your feelings. And if they don't respect that, then maybe you should find new people to be around if they don't want to respect these boundaries and respect your assertiveness and that assertive power, because there's a lot of power in being assertive versus being passive or passive aggressive. With those two things, you're not really being clear about your feelings. It's kind of just like a whatever, I didn't like that, but I guess you can continue doing it. That's pretty much what it looks like. And I know personally for me, I actually used to be that type of person where I was very like passive or passive aggressive and just would let anybody just walk all over me, talk to me any way they want to. And I just kind of like take this a step back and just like, whatever, it's cool. All is gravy. I'll just, look past it. But I think now I'm just learning more and more that assertiveness is key for me in my personal growth. And I feel like it should be key for a key thing for anybody in life to kind of help in their personal development, in any type of environment and in any experience in their walk of life.
I love that. I especially love the last line, in any type of environment, in any situation that you're in, because a lot of people believe that if you are at work, some of the words I wrote down was like, you have to lead with politeness or kindness. And so when you say the word assertive, they're like, well, those two don't go together. Do politeness and assertiveness go together, Gregory? Do they go hand in hand?
You definitely can put them. They can go hand in hand a little bit. Yes. So it's all about your body posture. It's all about how you say things. You know how people say like it's the way you say it and how you portray it to other people. Because people can take it a different type of way. Especially when it could get intertwined with aggressiveness. But that also could be stereotyped because with Black people, it comes off as you're being aggressive, you're being loud, you're threatening me now. Hold on, I'm about to call the cops. It could get to that level. So yeah, it's all about like how you approach the situation and just your mannerisms and things of that nature. So I know with me, I did have this situation at work where um I used the word off-putting, and for some reason, my clinical supervisor took that. She took that to a whole nother level and took it personally for some reason. And I was just so confused and questioned, like, why did she take that so personally? So, and just to backtrack a little bit, I told her that something was off-putting because she was kind of like micromanaging me in a sense, watching me kind of like perform my duties with the kids and things of that nature, running CBT groups and just the individual one-on-one with my kids. So I said it was off-putting because I never got like a heads up. I like I'm very organized and detail oriented. So I need to know certain things beforehand so that I can prepare not just myself, but prepare my kids for these for these things that are about to happen. So once I just saw just kind of just come into like these sessions, I'm like, excuse me, can I help you? Like, oh, I'm just here to observe. I'm like, okay, didn't get the memo, but sure. So mentioned it during our supervision meeting where we talk about our cases and things of that nature, and my caseload in general. So I thought we were over it because this is like now 2 days later. And she's like, I want to talk to you about that whole off-putting thing. And, it was really on my mind and I wanted to talk about it. I'm like, why are we talking about this again? I thought we had a clear understanding and, we kind of talked through it and I thought everything was copacetic, but obviously not from her end. So I felt really gaslighted, or lidded. Is that even a word? One of the two. You guys know what I mean. But I felt that because it was almost like she was like pressuring me to say that I was angry. She was like, it seemed like you're mad. Are you mad? What's going on? Are you okay? I'm just looking at her like, are you okay? And I told her, honestly, I'm okay. And I don't appreciate you putting that narrative onto me like I'm an angry person, because I was very passionate, like how I speak. And if I'm like very serious, I speak with conviction and with passion. So if that comes off as aggression to you, I'm sorry. Well, actually, I'm not sorry, but I'm not going to have nobody filter me and filter my words. Like, these are my words. These are my true, genuine feelings. And this is how I feel. And I'm expressing them to you because I thought this would be a safe place for me to kind of like express those feelings and talk about certain things and have disagreements and be able to move on and have some type of resolution. So she was very like, so it was very uncomfortable in that situation of her trying to do that to me. And I did tell her, I was very blunt. I was like, well, if I was angry, I think for me, I would have probably got up and walked out in the middle of our conversation. And she didn't know how to take that because, me, knowing everybody knows me, I'm a kind, very gentle soul. It takes a lot for somebody to really get to me. You got to really like keep poking me before I like express myself, like, all right, now you're poking too much. So I need to like, I get to get all this tension and stuff out of me. So in that situation, I expressed my feelings and things of that nature. And then one thing that was very interesting about it is when I mentioned it prior to us having this conversation about the off-putting thing, she told me, I gave you ample opportunity to change your tone, change that language, change that word that you kept using. I'm like, and you gave me ample opportunity. I was like, do you hear what you're saying to me right now? Do you hear how you sound right now? You're telling me that I have to filter myself, I have to filter my words and my genuine feelings for the benefit of you. That's not ever going to happen. So I told her this exactly. I was like, you or anybody else within any environment will never, ever have to filter me, ever. It will never happen any lifetime. So and she was like, you know what? You're right. You're right. I never want to filter you. I was like, well, a second ago, you did want to filter me. You said you gave me ample opportunity during that time when I did mention the whole off-putting thing. So now you're changing up your words. So I need clarity here. Like, I need to know, how are we going to move forward? So at that point, it didn't really go anywhere. It was pretty much at a standstill. And I kind of just left with my heart like racing, me shaking. Like when I'm like very triggered, I start shaking. I'm very like just like very discombobulated. So I'm just like, oh, Greg, Lord Jesus, God, just calm myself down. So that experience was very enlightening for me. I now know how to approach certain situations and who I can actually approach about my feelings about things that are happening in the work environment. So it was very interesting to have that interaction with my clinical supervisor.
I am so sorry that you had to just kind of create a safe space while someone who is a supervisor to you is creating a very hostile space for you to complete your work in and to
Hmm.
express your feelings and needs in. One of the things I wrote down is emotional intelligence. There are so many people who are not equipped with emotional intelligence. So when they become gaslit and saying like, "Oh, you're angry," then we start to internalize that messaging like, maybe I am angry. Maybe I am assertiveness is negative, or maybe I am aggressive. Maybe, and I love that you're saying I knew because I was shaking. I knew because my heart was racing. Knowing all of this keeps you safe when people are trying to keep you or trying to create unsafe space. Oh my gosh, I can't even like I feel it. I feel it because
Yeah,
I've been in that situation so many times where I'm like, I'm not fucking angry right now. I'm starting to get angry.
exactly.
But that's because you keep saying it. I'm literally trying to have a conversation with you about what I need
Exactly.
to feel safe. Um,
Yeah.
excuse me, let me catch my breath. What
Yes.
I
Go ahead.
love, the question that I wrote down is, can I help you help me? If the conversation is steering away from that, I don't want it. When was the last time, besides talking to that supervisor, that you had to be like, how can I help you help me?
So, and that's always hard because a lot a lot of people don't want help. So I try not to pry and go too deep into that. It's like if you want the help, I'm always available. I'm a person that's a very helpful person. I will literally make myself available if it's needed in that moment, especially if it's for your mental serenity. That's what I call it, mental serenity. Especially if it's for your mental serenity and you really are like burnt out. There's no one else you can turn to, and you just need somebody to kind of a support system or somebody of a support to just lean on. I'm there. So I think for me, I it's funny. I don't really ask for help, which is weird. So for me to try to help other people, sometimes it does get a little tricky for me because I'm like, well, I don't know how I feel, especially if I know that this person doesn't like me or this person has just made my life a living hell in a work environment, whatever environment. I just don't know. But this the kind I'm like, what would God would do? What would God do in these moments? But I mean, overall, I would say like me personally, I'm someone that would just be like, all right, you need help. What do you need me to do? Just need like quick advice, just need a listening ear. Um, Whatever you need, you want to go out, do something, have a little fun, like whatever it is. I know I will definitely make myself available to any of my friends or to even family members. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that you know that about yourself. That's something I have learned as a professional, honestly, is like, I'm not the person that you come to with 7 different ideas on the wall, and then we'll take like 6 hours to like dwindle it down. Baby, come to me with 3. Come to me with 3. And then I promise you we'll get to 1. I promise you. But don't come to me with 6, 7. What I can't figure it out. No.
Exactly.
Come to me over here. And learning that about myself has helped me help other people because I'm no use to you at 6, 7 ideas. I'm really not. I'll be like, why can't we move forward? I need to help you. And I just can't. I'm not useful at that point. How did
No,
you get to this point of clarity? How did you know, like, I'm not that person? I can't help you right now.
I think it's because I strive so much to know everything and want to know everything that it feels like I'm almost forcing myself to give answers and feel like I have all the answers right away when in all honesty, I really don't. And I feel like it's hard for me to admit that because I want to be helpful. Like I said, I'm like a helpful person, so I like helping people. So, and I feel like that's what I was made to be, but that's why I was here and created on earth to do, is to help other people. So I feel like in those moments, I've come to realize growing as I grew a little bit older and became more self-aware of like just things I've been like little minute things that I'm doing towards other people. I'm realizing that it's okay not to help other people. It's okay if you don't know everything. Just just take a step back. Maybe like it's just refer them to somebody else that you know is a reliable resource that actually knows what they're talking about and knows what they're doing, instead of feeling like I need to force myself to give an answer and just to almost people please um, the person. So, and I feel like that's another thing from me being a people pleaser. I had to stop that and cut that out completely because that was becoming an issue. Um, so I think once I was able to gain some enlightenment on my limits and my capabilities, I was able to kind of move forward and be like, okay, I might not know this thing, but maybe I can help you in a different area where I'm like almost like an expertise in this area where I can definitely give like some sound advice that'll really be beneficial and productive for you. So yeah, it took a while, but I got there.
And I'm glad that you got there. I'm still getting there. Everyone who's listening to this, like I'm still on the process. Gregory is definitely a person to talk to about getting there. So please reach out to him. What I wrote down was force myself to give an answer.
Hmm.
Wow. If
Hmm.
I've ever, like, I felt that emotion before, like, oh no, I need to answer this right now. I need to
Yeah.
help this person right now. And
Yeah.
knowing that there's permission out there, you don't have to force yourself to give an answer. You're allowed to refer people to other people. Damn, I wish I would have known that like 10 years
Hmm.
ago. I really wish I would have. You
Yeah.
said that the work that you do is focused around children, and I love that. I love that you're teaching a whole generation of children that transparency, honesty, and assertiveness, especially with this skin, is not aggressive and should not be seen as an attack. How are you constantly letting these younger, smaller people know that they're allowed to be assertive, honest, and transparent?
Yes. So it's very difficult because this is a group of kids that are they have a lot of challenges and a lot of things they need to work through. So I try to be mindful of that. And of course their age group. It's definitely different. It's a different dynamic working with kids that have OCD, anxiety, major depressive disorder, things of that nature. So I try to be mindful of how I teach and present certain topics to them related to cognitive behavioral therapy and just things related to anxiety, depression, things of that nature. Now, when it comes to like being assertive and honest and things of that nature, I tell them that it's okay to feel those feelings of like frustration and anger towards your friends and your little classmates, your little peers, and all that stuff. But it's about how you control your behaviors afterwards and how you're able to kind of hone in all that energy and to really have a sense of like, okay, like I'm aware of my feelings. Yeah, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, things of that nature. But how am I going to react to them probably not receiving my assertiveness? So in those situations, I usually tell them let's sit with that for a little bit, process that. Like, don't be so reactive to it, but maybe just kind of taking a step back and just very politely saying like, okay, well, I see you're not respecting my boundaries. I see you're not respecting me being assertive. So I think I need to just walk away from the situation before it escalates because I don't want to do anything that I might regret or say anything that I might regret because I am trying to respect you as a human being overall. So, and I'm trying to respect myself because I'm working on myself. I have other things going on. So I'm not going to let you disrupt my mental serenity and disrupt my peace. So yeah, so I try to teach them like it's so you can be positive, you can still be positive, but have these like, frustrating, tension and all that other stuff built up in you. But I just always try to teach them like to always have compassion for other people because you never know what they might be going through. But I also want you to have compassion for yourself and love for yourself and know that you're able to express yourself however you want to express yourself, and to never let anybody kind of diminish your feelings and things of that nature. So, and just to be able to kind of just focus on what you need to get done and not focusing on other people and their behaviors and things of that nature. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to be there to help you with these issues. So I feel like, they're a good group. We get a good group of kids here and there. We have a little couple bad ones, but overall, they're able to retain the information and get it, because this is on a repetitive basis where we consistently teach them about these things. So they pretty much leave the program with more insight on a lot of things and how to like navigate as they grow older into adulthood.
Hmm. And I love these lessons that you have shared with us today, because I feel like there's no age limit to those lessons. Like a lot of adults could take a lot from the lessons you have shared today. One of the
Yeah.
things I wrote down is compassion. And we talked about how politeness and assertiveness can go hand in hand. And that compassion must be the jelly to the people, like must be the sandwich. That's how it keeps it together.
Mhm.
Compassion. I really love that. My therapist and I, just to let y'all know, we're working on giving too much compassion to people to the point where they play in my face. Have you
Mm.
talked to some of your people in your group about how giving too much compassion may cause people to play in your face?
Ooh, yeah. Compassion. What's crazy is compassion is one of the topics I wholeheartedly adore and love teaching. So when anybody else wants to pick, I'm like, no, I want this group. It's mine. Don't take it. So they're like, Greg's gonna do the compassion, everybody. Let him take it. So yeah, with compassion, oh man, I think the world needs a little bit more compassion. So it's just very hard for a lot of people to give that compassion to not just yourself but to others. And when you overly give a lot of compassion, sometimes um, you almost miss a certain small percentage of giving that compassion back to yourself because you're so solely focused on giving that compassion to somebody else and always being like, let me just be, and it's okay to be selfless and really provide and do all of these good and kind deeds for other people. But it's like, what about me? Why am I not giving the same to myself than I would to another person? Um, and I know I can benefit from this, but it's just like maybe it's just very difficult for them or very challenging. But I feel like with compassion, it works both ways. It shouldn't be a one-way street. It shouldn't be some type of narrow path where it's just like, boom. I need to have compassion both ways so that it's exuded in a more productive and effective way. Um, I I used to be a a person that would give too much compassion to others, and it did not help me or benefit me at all in any way, shape, or form. So it just took a lot in me to take some of that back, take some of that power back because it's not easy because I feel like every human being on this earth, we're our own worst self critics. Like we consistently, I'm pretty sure every day we criticize ourselves about something so minute and so small that it's almost subconscious and it's almost second nature that we kind of just do it. And then we try to reverse it, be like, no, it's okay. No, 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 it's not. No. It's like a back and forth, constant warfare going on inside your head that nobody knows about, but just you. So I feel like I had to take some of that power back and do some more like self-reflection and just like positive affirmations and just things of that nature to really get back to me. Um, and be a little selfish. There's nothing wrong with being selfish. And I feel like a lot of people take that word and kind of misconstrue it in a sense. But I feel like being selfish and taking care of yourself, it should be number one priority. It should be something that's essential to your life and to your, life journey. So that's how I like to look at it overall.
Ooh, my chest out. There were a lot of words and phrases that have been redefined for me today in this episode. One of the things, being over compassionate, I wrote down not beneficial to self. I hate you for that, but I love you for that. And I will probably keep it with me for the rest of my life. So
Love
the
it.
people who are listening to this and are excited about being assertive, honest, and transparent, but not being too compassionate to the point that it's not beneficial to their own safety and health, what would be the top 3 tips you would share with them about moving forward with this journey?
Uh, Moving forward this journey, I feel like 3 tips I would provide is definitely protecting your mental serenity. Because I say this every single day to anybody that needs advice. Protect your mental serenity. Um, be very open and honest to people that you trust and feel like you can like open up to about just anything in life, because it's times are hard. A lot of things are going on in this world, and I feel like we need people that we can rely on to kind of like be the listening ear, or be that support person that you can go to and talk to about anything in life. And it takes a lot for people to be vulnerable to other people. So it takes a lot to kind of like open up and just be vulnerable in that moment, really share certain things about yourself or about, things that are going on around you. So definitely being genuinely honest and open, being vulnerable, protecting your mental serenity. And I did have a final tip. um, oh, um, do not roam. No, you know what? Let me switch that up. So do not feel like you have to filter yourself in any capacity, any way, shape, or form. Do not feel like you have to kind of close yourself off to certain people because you feel like it's gonna come off differently to other people. When I feel like you shouldn't really care about how they perceive you. I feel like they should be more so coming from an understandable and more like non-judgmental perspective, hearing you out and hearing what you have to say and expressing yourself and your true, genuine feelings. I don't think anybody wants to feel like they can't really open up and be honest about their feelings. That's something I feel like that's very sacred and something that should be cherished. And it's part of human nature. It's part of our human characteristics. So I feel like to take away that thing that makes you human, I feel like it's doing a disservice to us overall. So I feel like, you know, all of that being said, those would be my 3 tips.
And I love them so much, especially the last one. There are so many of us who don't have the words to like perfectly articulate our feelings at this point. But I just need everyone who's listening to this to know like, you don't need that. You don't need perfect grammar, perfect speech, just get them out. Let the people know that they're causing you harm and you no longer feel safe here. And that you want to work with them to create a safer space together. Like I'm trying to work with you. I'm trying, what we say? Trying to help you, help me, help
Help me.
you. Like this is okay. Thank you so much for sharing so much in this episode, Gregory. Are there any last minute sprinkles that you'd like to share with the audience before we go?
Last minute sprinkles. Yes. So my life coaching business is coming soon. It's called Blue Life Coaching. Blue is an acronym, so it stands for Bountiful Living Utilizing Empathy. I came up with it myself. And of course, blue is my favorite color, so of course I had to use that. So it's coming soon this year. I'm also working on something special with 3 other gentlemen. A podcast coming soon, so hopefully that'll be released very soon. So a lot of good things coming up. You can find me on LinkedIn, and then eventually you can find me on Instagram, where I'll create my business page for Blue Life Coaching. So more details about what that entails and my specialties and the modalities that I'll be utilizing within that business.
Nice, nice, nice. And y'all better follow him. His information will be in the show notes when this episode is published. But to everybody who is listening, keep saying absolutely not to anything who is unaligned and setting those boundaries. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.